Well, another excellent match, wasn't it? There with Peter Gader coming out on top. He's Denmark's hope in the men's singles. Here's India's hope in the women's singles as Saina Nehwal takes on Ip Wee Pin, the 24-year-old from Hong Kong and the number 14 seed. The players on court with Adam's Bester then. Bit of history between these two, have met quite a bit recently. I know, Jill, you watched them in action at the Asian Games.
Yes, in fact, that was the last time they played against each other, but that tournament doesn't count towards world rankings and therefore doesn't show in the head-to-head matches. But it was, in fact, Ip Wee Yin who won on that occasion. So a big upset because Saina Nehwal was the number 2 seed at the Asian Games in Guangzhou. She
is the golden girl of Indian badminton and probably Indian sport as well, particularly regarding the women. She is a huge star back home and a lot of expectations on this 21-year-old shoulder. As you can see, she is world number 6. She has been higher than that this season. She's been high as number 2 in this season. She's had her ups and downs after winning 5 titles last year, but an ankle injury in December just set her back a little bit at the start of the year. But she says she's not scared of the Chinese players. They're obviously top 4 in the world rankings. She's put a lot of hard work in, and she reckons she's in her best form and her best shape. Well, she came through in just 26 minutes against the young Irish girl Chloe McGee in round 2. And here's her opponent, Ip Wee Yin of Hong Kong, who, as opposed to that 26 minutes Saina took to get through, took an hour and 10 minutes against Michelle Lee yesterday, eventually prevailing 21-17 in the final set. 2 semi-finals this year, but the main thing for her, Jill, is she's been suffering with this knee injury, a month out, not 100% she admits herself coming into this match. So she's not sure what's going to happen here.
No, but she's a player that has had some outstanding results. She is a player that can beat the very best. There's no question of it. Not only has she beaten her opponent, Saina Nehwal, twice previously on their 4 meetings, so it's evenly balanced, 2 wins apiece, but she's also beaten the likes of Shi Feng, who of course was 3 times All England champion, twice world champion. So, you know, you don't go around having results like that. Of course, she shot to stardom at the Asian Games in Doha in 2006 when she beat the Olympic champion, Jiang Ning, from China in the quarter-final stage and went on to reach the final. So a silver medalist at the Asian Games 5 years ago and a bronze medalist last year at the Asian Games.
Just before this match gets underway, I just want to point out that the defending champion has just lost in the men's singles, has just lost the first set. Chen Jin has just lost to first set 21-18 to AJ Jayaram of India. As we look at the service judge there, Ian Ross, of course, as we saw, Lauren's Bester, the umpire. But that would be a hell of an upset in the men's singles there if AJ Jayaram can continue to pull that one off. Still plenty to go. But obviously our attention here on the show court here is this matchup between Ip Wee Yin and Saina Nehwal, and it should be another terrific match.
Saina Nehwal, India. Saina Nehwal to serve. Level, play.
Well, she played so well yesterday, Saina. She was really happy with the way she disposed of Chloe McGee. And she's off to a similar kind of start here. Just the first point, of course, but lovely play. Feels good. Must have been close. And she's finding the range early on, isn't she, Saina? That's good though as well.
1, 2.
Joe, I know obviously you've seen a lot of matches over the years, and always hard to distinctly remember one particular one, but from what I understand in the Asian Games, there was quite a bit of mind games going on, and Saina afterwards, I was reading quotes from her saying that she was upset with the way her opponent here was questioning her, and the shuttle, every time she went to serve, she was questioning whether the shuttle should be changed.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of...
What more can I add?
Well, what I'm trying to get at is there might be a little bit of antagonism here between the two, or is that completely just left in the past?
Well, I mean, Saina, there was huge expectations on her. She was the #2 seed at the Asian Games and so desperately wanted to do well. And, you know, it was a very, very intense contest, I have to say, in the quarterfinal between these two players. Ipui, well, there have been other players that she's played against where there's quite often disputes as to whether the shuttle should be changed or not. It's very much become a feature of badminton now, which I find very disappointing. You know, that the psychological games and, you know, are coming into badminton more and more, as far as I was concerned when I was playing. You know, if somebody wanted to change a shuttle, I loved it because I always knew that a crisp new shuttle was going to suit me. So I'd happily change the shuttle, whereas now players say, oh, it's a lucky shuttle, it's suiting me, or oh, I haven't won a rally with this one, I want it changed, or, you know, a bit like the tennis players with, you know, asking for the same ball back, or, you know, and it's all psychological. Service fault called above the waist.
Ian Ross clearly showing there, and above the waist.
Ipui does get called a lot for a high serve. Now, I thought that was flat as well, very high. Now, perhaps I want to just explain a little bit about serving below the waist.
Yeah, please do, because it's not...
Because the waist in badminton is not what you and I call a waist.
Yes.
It's defined as below the lowest rib. So in case people are thinking, well, all these serves are above the waist, there is a definition in badminton of waist, and it's...
Is that sort of, I know we're going all around the world, but kind of like Simon Cowell's waist? Because he wears his trousers very high, doesn't he?
Well,
some people know where I'm going with that one. Many well, won't.
I'm afraid you've lost me on that.
8-2.
Just the start that Saina would have wanted.
2.
That's beautiful.
I mean, that's the kind of form that's in it. You know, it's too early to say she's definitely going to stride through here, but that's the kind of touch and form that's going to give her encouragement as she progresses, should she do so. She really hit the ground running yesterday. Very impressive then. Pretty faultless so far as well. There we go again. Another terrific cross-court shot. And then the little touch at the net. It's just almost perfection.
11-2 indoor.
Yeah, I was speaking to her coach, Pulela Gopichand, the day before the tournament started. There he is. And he was saying to me how well training had gone and how she was really getting back to full fitness. He felt she was in better condition. You know, and you have to remember that already this year she's been in 3 finals, winning one of them, the Swiss Grand Prix. But most recent tournament, of course, was the Indonesian Super Series event where she reached the final and only lost out in a terrific match against Wang Yihan, who was the #2 seed here. Wang Chen, coach to Ipui Yin, who was silver medalist at the World Championships in Kuala Lumpur.
Well, 6 points in a row to the interval for
11,
Saina
2.
Nehwal.
Play.
First-class performance so far from the Indian player.
All.
We've seen some interesting matches, particularly in the doubles. I know Peter Gader was stretched, but some of the top players in the singles, you know, Lee Chong Wei, we saw it from Wang Shixian, and now from Saina Nehwal here. It's been very impressive badminton they're putting together right from the very start of the week.
Service over. 3, 12.
Well, a much needed bit of relief there for Yin. I suppose when you've had a knee injury like she has, and you played an hour and 10 minutes yesterday, it's going to take a bit out of you.
30.
Yeah, she's a very physical player in her style of play anyway, Yin.
Just long.
43.
It's just delightful. It really is. What a super shot. She's using all four corners of the court, Saina Nehwal, pushing her opponent to the back, bringing her forward, pushing her to the back again.
And there's not much at the moment that Yin can really do. She's not exactly making huge errors, is she? She's just being outclassed.
No, and I think one of the problems for Yin is the fact that she doesn't really have the same range of shots. Her repertoire, or rather her strength, is very much her physicality on court. She's a great runner, she's a very good athlete, but where does she play her winners? An awful lot of the time she relies on outlasting her opponent.
And if she's not physically at her best, which obviously I'm suggesting she's not, then we might see this kind of result. It's an unbelievable stretch of scoring.
Fault.
Yeah, fault called.
93.
We've been on court for 8 minutes. Saina Nehwal already 2 points away from taking the opening game. Demoralised at the moment. She, as I said, hadn't made too many errors, and suddenly they are creeping in. She's flummoxed. It's a stroll in Wembley for Saina Nehwal, that's for sure right now. I was going to use the expression she's hardly broken sweat, but that's not quite true, is it?
You were talking earlier, Richard, about whether she's the biggest female sports star. I think undoubtedly she is, as far as Indian athletes are concerned. The only other outstanding female athlete, I guess, in the world media is Mirza, tennis player,
yeah.
but she's dropped out of high ranking at the moment. Well, let's look at that. Unforced errors, too many from Yin. And look at the overhead winners from Saina Nehwal and net winners. None from Yin.
Well, she only won 3 points in the whole set, so
Yeah.
not surprising we can't see too many winners there. Yeah, well, I mentioned the physical problems. She's feeling it, isn't she? As I said, an hour and 10 minutes on court yesterday. And the fact that she lost that opening game 21-3, it makes you feel more tired as well.
Yeah, the body language, though, is not good, is it?
Extremely negative.
Second game. Level. Play. One. Love.
Yeah, there are some days where you just think that, you know, everything you try just not working, and you just sort of beat up on yourself. Yim's going to have the mental discipline to say, you know, I'm not going to allow that to happen.
What's it like though for Saina Nehwal here? It's just wide with that one. She's played Chloe McGee first game, first match up, and very comfortable, straight sets, a breeze really. Here she is again, up against another opponent who's pushed her in the past, but it's a breeze again. You know, if it goes according to the way the first set does, then you know it's going to be over in double quick time. And then she's suddenly going to come up against in a match, surely, you know, likely to play Wang Xin in the next round, where it's going to be a completely different story, different feeling. How hard is it to go from 2 matches like that to a key match like the one she's probably going to face?
It depends on the personality of Saina Nehwal. From my own personal experience, you know, the quicker I could get matches over with, the more confidence I drew from that. So even if, you know, they were relatively easy matches, I loved it. You know, because then I felt even more confident. I'm in good form, right? It doesn't matter who I'm playing next. You know, it might be the former world #1, but I'm ready for her. So, you know, I think Saina will react in that similar sort of a way. As far as, you know, she's looking very, very sharp as it is. So, you know, it's not as if she doesn't get the practice or the, you know, the warm-up session early in the morning when the players come down to train before play starts for the day. Her coach will be making her sharp, putting her under pressure and so on. So she's still getting the intense workout, whether it's on the practice court or whether it's on the match court. So I don't think it will be a problem to her.
But she had 6 weeks before here, so she, in terms of having to play key points, that's what I'm getting at. You know those moments in matches which can swing one way or the other. She's had 6 weeks without any competitive badminton, and her badminton so far in this World Championships, and much of it is also down to her super play, hasn't been that competitive either.
No, but the last tournament she played, she was very competitive. She reached the final in Jakarta in Indonesia. So, you know, you still, even if you've had 6 weeks of intense training, you still draw on that experience from the last time you played and get confidence from that as well.
Yeah. We're all going to plan here for Saina Nehwal.
Service fault called again, once again.
Same story. Above the waist. Ian Ross saying that she's starting in the right position, but by the time she hits the shuttle, she's too high.
Six, 3.
see the mental turmoil, can't you, with it Yin?
Every corner foul, every little drop shot just clearing the net.
Yeah, she's certainly got the Midas touch at the moment, hasn't she?
191. 220 the fastest so far this week in the women's game, 1 CLE. 220 kilometers per hour. A couple of Indians in the top 5 there in the women's double, the partnership of Ashwini Ponappa and Jwala Gutta, both broken 200.
Well done by Yin.
Her best point of the match. That was in.
5, 9.
A little bit of respite then here for the Hong Kong player. Yin, who fell at the same stage in the World Championships last year, 3rd round to Wang Lin.
Went on to take the gold medal.
Saina will be hoping it's a case of lightning striking twice.
11-5 interval.
It's comprehensive so far, isn't it, from Saina? It's really good to see the auditorium, Jill, now is getting towards capacity here. Been some good crowds. A lot of Danish fans have been around today, of course, with a lot of their players in action, but big support for the Indian players with Saina on the court now, and of course AJ Jairam on the adjacent court trying to push the defending champion. And of course Friday, Saturday and Sunday we'll be getting very close to being a sellout.
11-5.
Well, once again, Richard, I have to say I have my concerns the way that Yin was sort of bent over double there. You know, I don't think she's necessarily out of breath, and there's a big gulp of air there. It's more her mental state of mind, I suspect. And every athlete in every sport, I'm sure, is taught at a very young age. I certainly was. You know, never let your opponent see when you're down or when you're hurting. You know, it's okay to let them see when you're up and you're happy, but never let them see that you're beating up on yourself. Oh, that's superb. So crisp the way she hit that. Really a half smash. Just going for angle and placement. It's very interesting if when you watch these replays and you see Saina Nehwal's overhead shots. Yin, I think, is calling it a day. She's had enough.
That's the end of that. And I mentioned the fact that she's had this knee injury, Yin.
Well, she's got her right ankle heavily strapped at the moment, so I think that's possibly been more of a problem. Yeah. Well, that's a disappointing way for that to come to an end.
Well, Saina Nehwal in this World Championships hasn't even been on court for an hour, and she's through to the quarterfinals. She won't care though, will she? She knows there's some tough matches to come, but she was well on her way to victory when Ipui decided to call it a day. So India's darling is into the last 8, and she will take on, well, most likely the number 3 seed Wang Sim, but perhaps Petya Nedojeva, who meet tonight. One of the last matches on court, the number 12 seed will try and push the top Chinese player there for the right to meet Saina Nehwal in tomorrow's quarters.